If you were a Pretty Little Liars fan back in the day, this is the video for you. A new installment of the iconic ABC Family series is here. Yes, Pretty Little Liars Original Sin released on HBO Max on the 28th of July, and fans are buzzing. Makers of the series say that the show is a slasher version of Pretty Little Liars. In this video, we'll talk about everything we know about the new PLL spinoff. First off, what even is slasher? When the new Pretty Little Liars spinoff was in the making, articles popped up everywhere advertising it as a slasher version of the original drama. But what even is slasher? Slasher is a subgenre of horror movies and TV shows, one that many of us find way scarier than your average haunted house story. The shows and films typically involve a psychopathic serial killer, a slasher, or a mass murderer who stalks and kills one or more victims. The killer usually has a twisted backstory, a specific weapon, and a consistent MO. Think Freddy Krueger in Nightmare on Elm Street, Candyman in The Candyman, and Norman Bates in Psycho. All these characters featured in iconic slasher films, and we still have nightmares about them. Safe to say, the new PLL fans will have their hands full if there's a slasher on the loose. Up next, Pretty Little Liars Original Sin, the slasher version. Clearly, Pretty Little Liars Original Sin will be a different brand of crazy from Pretty Little Liars. While the old show belongs to the thriller, drama, and crime fiction genre, the new one definitely leans more on the horror side. If it's truly part of the genre, Original Sin will have one psycho killer, unlike PLL, which made many killers with different motives. The creators of the show, Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa and Lindsay Calhoun, are big fans of horror. They worked together on The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, a horror show, and Riverdale, which certainly had horror and slasher elements. Remember the Black Hood? So they're going hard on the slasher genre in Original Sin. They think having A as a disturbed serial killer like the ones in Friday the 13th or Michael Myers in Halloween is a good way to honor the original show, with a new and fresh twist. And now, it's not a reboot, it's a new chapter. The creators of Original Sin have made one thing clear. The new HBO show is not a reboot. It's not simply a recreation of the original Pretty Little Liars with Gen Z characters. Instead, the makers want us to think of it as a new chapter, with a new story but some of the core themes. We know that the premise of Original Sin is less thriller and more horror, with a consistent killer, but it's also a reinvention in other ways. The core group of girls is nothing like our OG PLL icons. Don't expect a mini Hannah or Alison to appear. The town the girls of Original Sin live in, called Millwood, is more run down and gritty than Rosewood. The show is a total revamp with new characters and storylines. If you're a hardcore PLL fan, don't worry. There will be some similarities between the two shows. The makers just want to establish their own world before the Easter eggs come pouring in. The original Pretty Little Liars was so iconic. The creators didn't want to mess up its legacy. If that's the case, we hope the new show doesn't feature a teacher and underage student romance. Sorry, Ezria fans, Mr. Fitz was a creep. Moving on, what do we know about the plot? While we'll obviously have to wait for the show to unfold to know more about the story of Original Sin, HBO has released a plot synopsis. And let's just say this, the show definitely has the potential to be absolutely addictive. The show is set in Millwood, a town far away from Rosewood, the town the original Liars lived in. In its essence, it's a classic high school girl drama. But here's the kicker. Not only do the girls have to deal with teenage issues, but a killer too. The new group girls, our liars, are tormented by a mysterious assailant. The reason? They're being made to pay for a tragedy that happened in the town years ago, one that their parents were involved in. The secret sin of their mothers is coming back to haunt the girls. Cue the dramatic music. Next up, what was the first episode about? The first episode of Original Sin was just released, and it caused quite the stir. In case you missed it, here's a quick recap. The episode opens in 1999, at a New Year's party. Unfortunately, it ends on a pretty dark note. 6 teenage girls ignore the cries for help from another girl, who seems like an ex-friend. She jumps from the rafters, dying instantly. The episode then flashes forward to 22 years later, where we meet Imogen, who is the daughter of one of those girls and 5 months pregnant. We see some classic PLL drama as her now arch-enemy Karen comes to take her stuff back. Imogen's mother gets a letter with a red A on it, with a flyer from the party of 1999. Soon after, Imogen and Karen find her dead in the bathtub, with blood everywhere and the letter A. A month later, Imogen returns to school, and we meet the other girls, all daughters of the girls at the party: Noah, Farron, and Minnie. They band together to take down the bully Karen. Creepy things start happening. Noah faces a drug violation, and Farron is accused of putting a razor blade in Karen's slipper. All the while, a shadowy figure haunts the girls and the school. Next, finally, a spinoff that could last? Over the years, we've seen many Pretty Little Liars spinoffs. The show was a moment in time, and others wanted to cash in on its glory. But none of the spinoffs were successful. Both Ravenswood and Pretty Little Liars: The Perfectionist were canceled after their first seasons. The fatal flaw of these spinoffs was trying to live up to the legacy of the original. Pretty Little Liars was a cultural reset, a part of the zeitgeist even today. You can't just pick out some characters and expect it to work. The dynamic of the liars and all of the other characters is what made the show the success that it is. But people think Original Sins could beat the odds and become the first successful PLL reboot or new chapter. Why? This show has definitely learned from the mistakes of the others. Instead of poorly copying PLL, it sets itself apart. A new town, new characters, new stories altogether. This show might just be the exception to the spin-off failure rule. And now for some other news. First up, meet the new liars. The new core group is nothing like the original. No high-achieving Spencers or teacher-loving Arias here. Bailey Madison plays Imogen, a teen mom described as a true survivor. It seems she will lead the group in uncovering the truth about A. Chandler Kenny plays Tabby, an aspiring filmmaker and a horror movie fanatic. Moving on, the role of Farron is played by the gorgeous Zaria Zamone. Farron is a talented ballerina, determined to make it out of her small town, but she'll have to deal with much more than the perfect pirouette on this show. Malia Piles plays Minnie, the youngest of the liars. A survivor of childhood abuse, Minnie is detached from the real world and spends most of her time online. Finally, Noah, the cynical high school track star, is played by Maya Rafiko. Noah spent her summer in juvenile detention, where we hope she learned some tricks to beat A. Up next, where can we watch Original Sin? The original Pretty Little Liars aired on the cable channel Freeform, but obviously the new show isn't restricted to cable to TV. You can watch Pretty Little Liars: Original Sin on HBO Max, home of other iconic teenage dramas such as Gossip Girl, Euphoria, and Generation. Season 1 of Original Sin will have 10 episodes, so clearly much shorter than PLL. We don't mind it though. We won't have to wait for 20-something weeks to have the mysteries of the season revealed. 3 episodes or chapters of Original Sin are already out to watch, so get some popcorn and immerse yourself in the world of the liars. Finally, good old teenage girl drama. Here's what fans love about the new HBO series. It has the same kind of teenage girl drama that we love about Pretty Little Liars. Both shows explore the experience of being a high school girl and all the problems that they face. PLL was about things like sexuality, jealousy, and having crushes on your sister's fiance apparently. Original Sin, right from the first episode, explores issues such as teenage pregnancy and high school social hierarchy. That's the kind of stuff fans loved about Pretty Little Liars, and that's what might just make this spinoff a success. After all, most of us can't relate to having a psycho killer on the loose, but everyone has experienced the horrors of high school. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think of Pretty Little Liars: Original Sin so far? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one!